let me introduce you. I've actually done it in the morning, but we have online now John Hudson from SDRPlay. He's the marketing director, for the company. So he is willing to present us, for example, maybe a brief overview what SDRPlay is doing at the moment, plus then the latest on maybe on the SDRconnect. But the floor is yours. We have about 40 people in. Sorry to interrupt. We have about 40 people roughly in the audience here, but I can only show you the kind of a narrow picture of the room. So go ahead. Thanks for joining, John.
Okay, well, thank you, Ismo, and it's great to be with you virtually. Can I just confirm at the moment you can see me and sort of some background with
perfectly
in the background? Okay, that's great. Well, look, I can almost imagine being there. I think it was 4 years ago, maybe 5. No, 4 years ago that I was there for the 50th anniversary. Was that 4 years ago? I think. And
was it 4 years ago? Yeah. I think it was.
So I've met maybe some of you guys and girls already, but look, and I think I've got about half an hour. Is that right, Ismo?
You can take as much as you can. We have about an hour. So,
okay. Well, I'm sure with questions and stuff, we will go well in towards that. So. Yeah, let me now attempt to share my screen slide. So I'm going to just sort of summarize what I'm going to talk through. Let me just go to this and then. Okay, can you see a full screen slide with maybe me in the corner?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I plan to just talk a little bit about SDRPlay. I know that many of you have already got an RSP of some sort, particularly the RSP DX, which is great, and a big thank you for that. But there may be one or two not quite so sure, but I'll be very quick just to summarize our products. And then I really want to spend the most time really introducing SDRconnect, what's included, what's coming, talk about the remote server, which I know might be of interest to some of you. I want to just summarize again, just our help and support, what we have. And I don't know how long that'll take. All this maybe takes 15, 20 minutes. And then we can move into demo. I'll do a quick demo, but then I'll throw it over and we'll make it interactive, what questions you have, and you know, see how we go. I have to say I'm not deep technical. I'm very. It was unfortunate that this weekend, Andy, who is our software architect and guru and masterminding everything around SDRconnect, has had this is his one vacation weekend, I think, for the last year. So he really couldn't be with us, which is a real shame. But if there are technical questions which I can't answer, I'll make a note of them and we'll attempt to follow up. So SDRPlay, actually, we sold, we went public 9 years ago, August the 1st. It's a British company. It's a joint venture that was set up with UK chip company Myrix. And Myrix was a company who were really addressing cellular phones and high-end PCs when it looked like you needed broadcast reception on a mobile phone. Going back 15 years, I mean, the Japanese were commuting to work watching terrestrial digital television. So with a very global cellular attractive market, Myrix invested a lot in developing 14-bit ADC technology and tuners from basically long wave, because in the UK we have long wave broadcasting still, through to L-band 1.7 gigs, where some countries have broadcast dependent on L-band. So they made a very, very rugged chip technology, which ultimately didn't really get used as the market moved on quickly, and we had the proliferation of Wi-Fi and 4G coming and 5G. So a lot of hobbyists realized that just as with some of the 8-bit dongles, you could create a pretty good receiver technology. I teamed up, my background was semiconductors, the wireless side of things. I was with Texas Instruments and CSR, the Bluetooth chip company, kind of semi-retired, doing some consultancy, teamed up with Merix and a few others, and we created a company to say, well, let us take these great chips and add a bunch of electronics, filtering, really understand what it takes to have a cost-effective mid-range receiver that is distinct from cheap dongles and affordable. So that was our thing, and as we got into it, we realized more and more software was key. We are 8 employees, 6 of us in the UK and 2 in the US, and a very important subcontract network, everything from some very, very key R&D through to the logistics support and that kind of thing. And obviously the manufacturing, which we do in the UK. We actually make the RSPs in 2 locations, one in Cambridge area and one in Peterborough, one up north in Hartlepool. We registered in the UK and we pay tax in the UK. So our products are, we have 3, the RSP1A, the DX and the Duo, and fundamental to everything is software. So we acquired SDRuno, it was called Studio One, about 5 years ago from an Italian entrepreneur, and we developed it and improved it and added features specifically for the SDRPlay family of RSPs. It's Windows only, so and it's showing its age. It's very, very difficult to keep all the windows on a screen together, and also server support was going to be very, very tricky. But we developed plugins which have added more and more features to it. It's a very rich and fairly stable platform now, and we will continue to support that because there will be plugins for a while which are not yet available on the new SDR connector from the right here, which is what I'm going to talk about. The key difference here is this is multi-platform for people who want to run on Mac and Linux, as well as Windows. The key thing is it's got server support, both in terms of the remote server software, but also the client software. So if you have, a Raspberry Pi in a nice quiet location and an internet connection, you can run Connect as a server and access it from the comfort of a nice warm Helsinki home. And instead of plugins, we're going to be adding modules. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. For those, this is just a block diagram of our simplest RSP1A. The DX has quite a bit more, but the basic structure of all our RSPs is to hammer at the front end those big interferers that can cause problems across, particularly the shortwave band, so maybe less interesting for AM use, because as you want about filters, cuts out the medium wave band, which obviously you guys, a lot of you wouldn't want to use. But there's DAB notch filters, because again, there's some quite powerful DAB transmitters in parts of Europe. Gain control functions and a focus on a good, clean amplification and minimum problems of cross modulation. We then have this bank of filters, depending on what frequencies you're looking at. And then the RF tuner technology around the Merix chipset and the USB interface. This provision to provide a bias T DC voltage on the antenna port to power a remote antenna. Now down at medium wave, AM and below, it really, you don't need that because there's plenty of gain. So the RSP1A, the key thing about it, clean coverage from 1 kilohertz up to 2 gig. It just has the one antenna port. It comes in a sort of lower cost plastic box, and it's been very popular amongst the radio ham community in particular, either as just a pan adapter or as a great affordable gift for people who are returning to the radio hobby late in life. So that's where the RSP1A fits. Then the DX, which is probably known to more of you there, where we've really gone the next step. It's a slightly newer design. It's got enhanced HF performance, but particularly below 2 megahertz with our HDR and additional filtering. It's really the radio of choice for lower frequencies. So, you know, obviously we have and provide with SDRuno preset bands buttons for some of those sub 2 megahertz bands. The Duo is a slightly older product, and you know, at some point I'm sure we will try to bring it up to date in terms of sub 2 megahertz, because this has something which, if only was combined with the DX, would give the ability to do some diversity tuning. So at the moment you have slightly poorer performance, but offset the fact you can do diversity and simultaneously access up to 2 megahertz of spectrum anywhere across. So it's really 2 tuners in one, and it's very good for real-time antenna comparisons. That's what we find people use it a lot for. If you've got 2 antennas, you can, rather than just switching from one to the other, you can actually bring up the two radios on your screen, and in real time, as conditions are fading and coming up and down, you can really see which antenna is doing the best job, and you can toggle between the 2 audios, or if you can cope, you can have both audio channels working at the same time. So the Duo it's really 2 receivers in one, and it also has this high impedance input, which allows you to just connect a wire directly with slightly better matching than just sticking a wire in the center of the 50 ohm SMA sockets. And there's a comparison chart, and all this stuff is on the website. So let me now just give a quick summary of SDRconnect. Like I say, it's multi-platform, and we'll just go through what that means. Server support and modules instead of plugins. And we've been promising this since December, so it's embarrassing to us. We had to go back and do a very serious rewrite of some chunks of it due to some technical problems we found. But we are at the point we have the preview edition ready to go live. I can't, you can never guarantee this, but this should be but it's definitely in August. It should be in the next week or so, but you guys have got a chance to play with it, I think, because Ismo has a copy. It's one of the very few copies outside SDRPlay, and you're welcome to have a play with it after, or at some appropriate point. Is that practical, Ismo, that they can have a chance to try it?
Yes, I have it. I got it in the other room, so we can test it out, and I will show you a brief demo also after this your session.
That's great. So you can see what's there, what isn't there at the beginning, and one thing I will keep stressing, on a PC you can have both SDRconnect and SDRuno running at the same time and switch between the two. They are happy together. You don't have to kind of switch and never to return. So it's nice and easy to start playing and seeing what features you like in it. This one's a little bit of a busy slide, but it really summarizes what is in the first release of SDRconnect. So there's multiple VRXs, the virtual receivers, just like with Uno. We're supporting all models apart from the very original RSP1, which was made obsolete in 2017. So it's five years old now, and we were unable to support that. A remote server with 2 streaming modes, and I think this is something that once you start to see, it's very, very powerful. Obviously, within a high-speed LAN, a local area network, it's full IQ, so you can just have in one part of your house or on your own premises a remote radio, and the client software doesn't have to be physically close to the RSP. But you can also go over the internet, and unless you've got super fast, really fast internet at both ends, the full IQ, IQ would struggle to get through. And so we have this audio mode, which is basically a streaming mode, which, if you imagine the SP2, the demodulated window that you're tuning into, you still see the entire up to 10 megahertz of spectrum, or 2 megahertz, or the whole of the 1.3 megahertz of medium wave spectrum. And and it allows you to tune across it, and you can actually get this over a normal, limited bandwidth internet connection, just 3 or 4 megabits per second. So this would work with your 4G phone, for example, as an internet connection. As with SDR, there's a calibrated power meter, S meter, band framing, HDR support for the DX, which is very important. We have support for the Duo, and this is much cleaner than it is with Uno. With Uno, you have to, with the Duo, anyone who has a Duo, you have to launch 2 separate instances of SDR Uno in order to have them both active. And with Connect, SDRconnect, it is taken care of, much simpler. We have manual diversity control for the Duo. We don't yet have the MRC version. There's headless server command line options, so that you don't actually have to sit with the keyboard and monitor to enable something like a Raspberry Pi running the server software. Signal to noise measurement. There's support for undocking and redocking of panels, saving and reloading of settings, and the ability to allocate the AUX SP to different tuners in dual mode for the Duo and for additional VRXs. As said, it's very much a multi-platform solution, but it will only run on 64-bit architectures. So that is something to make sure. So some of the older PCs, older hardware is not suitable. So you can read for yourselves here. Linux, obviously, we've got it all working on certain versions of Linux, and then mostly this means that when you run it on an alternative version, it'll be fine. But there may be some things that you have to do to get it working. But that's normal in the Linux world. Mac OS, it's 10.5 Catalina and onwards, and for the ARM 64 based Apple Silicon Mac OS, it's 13.0 Ventura onwards. Now, one thing that won't be there in this first release, but coming subsequently in modules, is the scanning, rig control, which is really important for hams transmitting, wanting to sync together the RSP, the main station, RDS decoding, and the scheduler. So this again, this may be something that means you'll still need to use Uno for a while, because I know a lot of you set the scheduler going for looking at the two minutes around the top of the hour, searching for DX medium wave stations. Some comments here. As I say, the existing plugins won't work with Connect, but the existing plugins were all developed using tools that we knew would allow a very relatively easy port to over to SDRconnect, and we're working with the third-party developers. They will get a toolkit very well within a couple of weeks or so of the release, so that they can then port their plugins across. But whether they choose to do so or not, we can't say, because they are third parties. And as I mentioned, very important, you could, whoops. Excuse me. SDRconnect and SDRuno can coexist on the same OS. This is just a picture of what's involved in setting up a server on a Raspberry Pi. Pretty straightforward. And we have a couple of videos which again I've shared with Ismo, that if there's time and you want to have a look, you're welcome to have a look. These will all be released along with all our normal sort of get started type of videos will all come out when we launch in the coming week or two. And our videos include examples of commands and setup and networking considerations for remote access. Before I throw it over, start doing a demo, I wanted to just take a moment to just make sure everyone's aware of our website in terms of the support available. And this may undergo quite a few changes once Connect is launched, but essentially from the top level, from the home page, you'll have access to all the normal sort of help, of which probably the most important one is when you need software, whether it's a new user or you want to go back and download something different. This is where a good way into SDRconnect. At the moment we have this new user system that's going to be probably streamlined a bit. The downloads that you get here, this system may change as well, but fundamentally either you'll be choosing to go to SDRuno and we'll get the normal kind of download box here with some useful links to video help at the top, or when you click on SDRconnect, which at the moment is just the status, this will take you to another blue box with a link for downloading. So it should be nice and easy to access new software from the website. But obviously, from time to time, you might need help, or you're trying to use something in a different way, you're having trouble. If you go to the help links here, what I would always encourage is to start with the community links, of which actually I just realized I need to add the Finnish group onto here. Local language, local help. at a global level, probably the most powerful Facebook resource is the independent Facebook group, which is now 11. Oh no, that's yes. There's one for UNO, which is 11K members. The independent SDRPlay Facebook group is now nearly 21,000 people, and it's full of useful help. People just ask for help and advice, and it's a very friendly community, and you can get all kinds of help from people who are probably doing something more similar to what you're doing versus the 8 people here at SDRPlay, where we know a few things, but nothing like the spectrum of stuff that's out there. Anyway, if it's clearly a problem with SDR Uno or Connect or our API, or you're frustrated, then the tech help system is very good. Where you select your RSP operating system and which software you're using, and if we just go through that for a minute. You'll get a few sort of FAQ things, and then if you still need help, click here. Okay, and you get a thing saying, please take a screenshot if you can, and fill this in. It will create a ticket which will be supported till you are happy. We really do pride ourselves on trying to close down these support tickets very efficiently. So that's the kind of support you can get here.
Yeah, John, may I just interrupt? Also, I want to add that because I'm a Finnish reseller for SDRPlay through my company DX-Liitto. I also I'm happy to try to support as much as I can directly through my email or Facebook, whatever. So all the people are welcome to connect or reach out to me as well for support.
That's a good Ismo. We usually the best people to both for direct local language support for purchasing, so you don't have to worry about duty and international shipping and so on, is your local salespeople, and obviously Ismo is the place to go, and Ismo himself is becoming a real expert, and we really enjoy working with him. Anyway, I realise that time is shooting on here. So what I'll do now is I'll just do a very quick demo, because I think it's going to be more useful actually to do it locally there later on after this session. But just for the sake of others watching any recording of this, let us now attempt to look at. I'm going to just stop. Okay, just 1 moment. Okay, can you now see a screen with SDRconnect?
Yep.
Okay, so here we are in the UK. I've got a wire antenna. It's actually a G5RV dipole, which is basically up about 30 meters, no, 25 meters. In the center, it's a wire dipole antenna. So it's optimized for shortwave ham bands, but it's very effective at picking up down into medium wave, and indeed up to VHF. So if I just do you hear the sound now?
Nope.
Can you hear sound?
No.
Ah.
Yeah, it's not coming through. But maybe I can do the demo.
Hang on a second. I need to do something. Don't worry. Hang on.
We have Glenmore, we've got
Miles
Kane, we've
got
got the Deborah.
Okay, so this is what it's like in UK, central England.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
At
5 Live News with Dina Campbell. A Russian tank.
Rani that's just my opinion.
To be honest, I mean it's very hard because both are absolutely great. But when you see Guardiola in something like Funner and you
Slow down anytime at talksport.com. The wonderful finish from the right-hand side. Transfer update throughout.
Also, the trailer to Dreamgirl 2 got released. It seems fun. It seems fun, and I like how they kind of.
Okay, so you can hear lots of AM activity. The look and feel of SDRconnect, in some ways, very similar. We try to retain some of the things that were good about SDR Uno. As before, there's a play button, the start stop up here. If we stop that, you'll see there's a drop down here, which can include a combination of anything directly connected, and you may have more than one RSP connected locally, as well as access to servers, which may or may not be local. So I often have, just to test things out, have the server running on this PC, and then I can launch SDRconnect and access my own server, if you like. And I mentioned earlier the full IQ mode or the audio mode. And what I'm going to do after we've finished, I'm going to set my server up, and hopefully Isma has the settings and he can remote in to an RSPDX here in the UK, which I'll just leave running for the rest of the day. And you can hopefully see how stable it is and have a play and pretend you're tuning in from the UK. So that's what this drop down is. As some of these functions are grayed out until you're actually running. So let's, oops. Oh, I've upset it because that's because I asked for the server, didn't I?
So maybe I can take it from there. Once we close the call, I can show a brief demonstration on the tool on SDRconnect. So.
I think I didn't give it long enough to. I should have done a refresh. A simple refresh would have fixed it. And then obviously it comes back. So things like step size, I think everyone's familiar with this, but here in the Europe, the 9 kilohertz spacing helps to lock you onto stations here. If you're looking for DX in between, obviously you'd set this to a different step size. Some really neat features, like you can left click the mouse and drag the scale of the dynamic range. The right hand mouse click will move the floor, so you can set the depending on your noise, background noise level, really optimize this to look as you'd like. You can expand and so on. It's a very much more modern, up-to-date user interface. And then this whole control panel here, which can be hidden to give you a bigger display once you've got your settings where you want them. These settings are all things like the filter presets you can change. Different menus will open and close, and you can scroll. You can have them all open and scroll up and down or hide them away. So there's the AGC settings, audio settings, and then we have the band buttons, which are similar to Uno. So there's broadcast bands, ham bands, lower, and so on. And then finally, options at the bottom. So there's a lot of opportunity to fiddle around with the waterfall type of display.
John,
okay.
John, I have a question regarding the high definition, the HDR setting in the medium wave. Well, if you're running at RSP-DX and you select medium wave, will it launch that automatically into the
Yes.
HDR?
As soon as you hit either tuning below 2 megahertz, or if you go to any of these lower frequency broadcast bands, like the medium wave band here, or in fact under other bands, for a lot of the enthusiasts who like to go down and look at non-directional beacons and stuff, then all this stuff is enabling the HDR mode. At the moment, the RF gain, these are global settings up here, and then these settings over here are related to whichever VRX you've got going, because just like before, you can add multiple receivers. So I've just added a second one, and you can see whether HDR mode is enabled. Okay, I won't, well, unless there's questions, I can demonstrate. I'll stop there and throw it open because I'm running out of time.
A little bit losing your voice. So.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I think I had too much sound coming up. So if let me just okay. So while I've got this set up like this, are there any questions relating to SDRconnect which you'd like me to maybe demonstrate?
Anyone? Not at the moment.
Okay.
I will try to answer the questions as good as I can, and if I can't, I will reach out to you after our meeting here. So, if that is okay.
Oh, that's great. Let me just go back to. Yeah. Okay. As you can see, it's very. We're having some horrible weather here. 13.1 degrees Celsius. Can you see that?
Whoa.
It's just raining, and we're having a bad summer at the moment. Anyway, back to any questions generally about the RSP family? Any feedback in terms of your experiences with the RSP-DX in particular? It's great opportunities like this to hear from you, or someone might say a little bit about what you're doing with your RSP-DX, maybe something exciting or interesting.
Anyone? It's a shy morning. We had a long night yesterday.
Did you get stuck in the sauna?
Yeah, but I think in general, the RSP-DX has found its place as a very good FM receiver, and a lot of people are using that for FM. So yeah, keep keep improving that part of the receiver,
Okay,
and we.
Is FM, would you say, growing more than medium wave? And
I don't know. Yeah, they I think mostly it's been used for FM. But I'm not sure if it's growing. There's still a lot of people using AM, and I think the HDR feature has been really well received, and there's a significant improvement in the dynamics with that. So all good, and we're really looking forward to SDRconnect, because with the short time I have tried it, it runs so good because it's a 64-bit software. It enables me to use a little bit less powerful PC actually to get, for example, that 10 megahertz bandwidth, and even record it. So it's looking really cool.
That's good. And what we've added is a band button for FM. Obviously, the whole FM spectrum is more than our 10 megahertz can do, but at least it puts you straight in the middle with the FM demodulation setting and that kind of thing. So that's good. Well, look, we always welcome feedback at SDRplay.com. Can't always answer everything, but like I said, the ticket system is there for real SDRplay specific issues or things like that. Okay, well, no, it's been great to be with you, and we really appreciate your support for us, and we'll do our best as a team to support you. I know Andy was sorry not to be here this weekend, but you guys are really friendly people to work with, and we really enjoy it.
Yeah, Andy deserves his holidays, so or little time off. He's been too busy. But hey, John, thank you very much for joining our meeting. It's been really fun, and we have the recording that we will share with the other team members who couldn't, or other association members who couldn't join today. So thank you so much, and have a good Saturday. I'm sorry to take part of your Saturdays for this, but we do appreciate that.
It's been fun. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.
All the
Have
best.
a good day.
Good
Yeah.
DX.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Bye.